Did you ever wonder what static grass looks like when it's being put down? Watch this. And that's how static grass looks up close when it goes down. Looks almost like real grass growing in there, don't it? See what happens if we get in really close. How cool is that, huh? Now, let's put some on our scenery. Well, you'll notice that I have some wax paper down so that my piece of scenery doesn't get stuck. And I'm using what they call scenic cement. It's called that. That's actually a trademark name. What I'm using is generic stuff. It's strictly white glue with mixed with water, about a 50-50 solution. You can see it's pretty runny. And I'm trying different solutions of it to see if it makes a difference. And the thinner the glue is, the better it actually will work. As far as not displacing too much ground underneath it. Now I'm going to show you a couple other places that I have already done on here. I'm adding some different colors into my mix here. Put some dark green in there. Let's do it. It's important to have the nail, which is our ground, in contact with the glue. That makes the contact over the whole surface that we're doing. See what happens when I hit that. This is the screen is electrostatically charged. Now we'll let that layer dry. Now move this away from the glue. This is my homemade static grass applicator. I did a video on this quite a while back now, but this is just a household screen, and I might be able to use a thicker one. I'm going to make another one, keep this one the way it is, but you can see what this was originally, electronic fly swatter. And I bought this from Harbor Freight of all places. Got a couple of batteries in it. and has the button right here to charge it. But yeah, let me show you. Down here we have started, sorry for the shaky cam, I have a couple of layers to get it thicker and taller, and you'll notice that in some places it's different colors and different thicknesses because I have done double or triple layers in some places, and I have gradually changed the colors, and we're going to have a bare spot there, which is no problem because I'm going to be doing another layer. This is the part that we already did, and you can see what we start with is just the bare foam. I painted this foam with some black water-based spray paint, and then after that dried I spritzed some green over it, and I found that that water base actually seals the foam, so that next time I'm going to use more green on top, so I don't have to worry quite so much about covering. But this looks pretty good, and let me get you right down there to it. And let me put a background behind it so you can really see it. See how that works? Yeah. Swing down here. And it looks pretty realistic. You can see the clumps there. And like I said, I've tried not only using the scenic cement, but I've also tried using regular white glue in its normal consistency. Woo! Get back up here. And it works pretty good. Actually, I think this extra layer here was done with that, and it stands up a little bit more and gives it a little more texture. You don't want it to look like it's been mowed, you know. This is out in the wild. And of course we're going to be adding some flowers to it, and we're going to be adding some grass tufts to it. Here's some of my flowers in here. And you can see this green in there with yellow flowers in it, and then we get pink flowers. We got more yellow flowers down in there. Yeah. And that stuff just gets sprinkled over the top. I'll put a light misting of the scenic cement on and just sprinkle that in a few places to make it look like wildflowers growing. And then we have our grass tufts and stuff. I'll be putting those flowers there in that canister on before I put it on the layout, but then once it's on the layout I will add the grass tufts and stuff like that. So yeah, I thought you might enjoy seeing how that works. Let's see if I can get right back down here and you can see this again. See how that works. Pretty realistic, I'd say. Yep, pretty realistic. Okay then. I've been working at this for a few days because what I do is after I'm done working on my plumbing or something else down here, then I come in here and because I'm already down here, I do a little more tinkering, and that's how I get to doing my stone. Oh, and I got started on this. I told you I was going to show you how I do my dry brushing. Yeah, well, I got started, figured I'd do some of it, and then bring you along when I finished it. I suppose I can do a little bit more because it's a little bit light in this area. But you can see how the dry brushing with the white paint brings out the highlights and brings out the top points and gives it like you're getting sunlight reflecting off of the edges of the rock. And we can actually do some more, I guess, just so you get the idea. And of course we get all of the We have the ballast to put on the tracks up here yet, all the way down, and then we got to put more gravel on like we have along the edges here. And yeah, look at all the dirt and stuff. You know what that's from? I had to run a wire up through there, and there's insulation between the two halves of this carrying beam, and that's the mess. I haven't cleaned it up yet. But you can see down here we have some of our static grass right on the edges of the rock, and actually some of it's growing in between the tracks. Yep. So we've got more of that kind of stuff to do. And I've been adding, I'd like you to give me your opinion, I've been adding some other detailing in here. I don't know if you can see it, but very, very fine trees in the background. See them there? I'm going to move this Sioux-Line car out of the way. See the one in the background? Kind of feathery looking. To give it more depth. I think it works. So it doesn't look like you just got a couple of trees, and I'm probably going to be putting more in. I've been adding them as I go. Yeah, I think it gives it a little more realism, because you don't normally see trees all lined up along the edge and nothing around them. We've got our lichen that we're using for shrubbery as well as other stuff. And what that very feathery looking stuff is, it looks like evergreens, you know, kind of like these evergreens that I have painted over here, and I'm probably going to put some more in along where these painted on evergreens are to tie it all together. But what that is stuff that ladies who do craft work use. Don't know exactly what they use it for, but it's very feathery and very light, and you can take individual branches and individual pieces, give you a clean background. See that? And those can be used to make little evergreens growing in the background. Or if you just got them down short, they'd be shrubbery and scrub stuff growing, you know, like that. All trying to get more realism. Yes, sir. And I made a new tree, this one here with a brown trunk on it, and it looks a whole lot better with that brown paint on it, so I'm going to be touching up the trunks on these. This one here is not bad. That one there is actually made out of two of these weed things here, and it's wrapped together using florist tape. Yep. And that particular one, I spray painted the branches. After I get the top done with green and a little yellow highlighting, then I flipped it upside down and I sprayed the trunk from the bottom up with the brown. I think it looks pretty good myself. That's what I think. So that's where we're at on the Shade Tree Railroad. Thanks for watching and for commenting. And I have another engine that I've been working on that I just finished painting, but the paint job came out terrible, so I'm going to have to redo part of it. And that's a subject of another video. So thanks for watching, for commenting, and boy, I wish somebody would come and vacuum that mess up. Don't you? Bye now.